Right, afternoon ladies and gentlemen. You join me, Jim Hughes, aka the Untamed Entrepreneur, in the lovely hills in North Wales, just north of a little town called Llangollen. And I am here today with a good friend of mine. He is friend first, client second, and probably an entertaining third.
Big time.
And he runs a brilliant business up in Edinburgh. And it is it's a food and sort of what would you even call it as? How would you frame it, Ed?
Well, it all comes under a food bracket, and it's got three legs that we work off. Our main thing is trying to get people to be able to travel the world through the medium of taste with delicious, authentic food. We've got a couple of hot food trucks. We've got some kits that we do, and then we're also looking at doing some pop-up events and things of that nature. But it's all brought from traveling around the world and then applying our love of travel and food into one business passion.
Lovely. So you're doing it with your soon-to-be wife,
Soon-to-be wife,
technically wife now.
Legally wife. The ceremony is pending.
Lovely stuff. And yeah, they started the business, or Michelle started the business a few years ago, and Ed got on board straight away when he saw the direction it was heading in and was inspired by what they were doing and the value they were adding. And like you say, it was inspired by your travel. So where particularly is the food based from?
Michelle initially went around Southeast Asia with a friend of hers after she'd been she trained as a chef. She'd done a couple of the stars jobs down in London, and then was working at the cookery school up in Edinburgh. She went off and had travelled to Southeast Asia and then started making these Southeast Asian curry kits, which are really simple and easy to make. And what she eats is really important to her, so we make sure it's got no additives or preservatives, oils or colourings or anything like that. So it's all natural and as authentic as we can source in the local area. With obviously things like Llangollen lemongrass to give it that authentic taste, being the only things we ship in.
Excellent. I'm so glad we've just eaten. We just had egg sandwich on the side of this lovely hill, by the way. And every time we normally talk about food, every session we do or chat, I start to salivate. So I'm glad we've just eaten. So get rid of that. I fucking fall over in every video I do. But one thing so this is Ed, by the way. I didn't actually get as far as his name. Ed Challis MBE, whatever.
Yeah.
Just dropping that in there. Ask him about that on InstaFace if you like. And Ed is, like a few of my clients, he's ex-military. And we were just having a little chinwag. I wanted to further the discussion in this video to hopefully add some value to you guys out there. And we were just discussing the similarities between the military and business. And Ed, you made a good point about the importance of teamwork in your environment, which some people may know out there is a big thing for me. It's certainly the environment aspect. So, do you want to expand for the audience on what you were going through?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you bring up the MBE point actually, which is one that I do like to bring up, and not for the sake of boasting. In fact, quite the opposite. So,
of course not.
I feel I got my MBE because I was surrounded by a cracking team. I was with the Recce platoon at 4 Scots, and we all played a massive part in being able to close down one of the last bases in Sturga 2 out in Helmand in Afghanistan. And that's the point I was making to you before, is just the fact that when you're in the army, you have this team and this structure around you, and everyone knows their place and roles, and there are rules and regulations and standard operating procedures and instructions and things of that nature. So you know what everyone is meant to be doing, what you're meant to be doing, and how everyone interchanges and how
everyone fits together.
That. Exactly that, yeah. And then when you have your own business, it's very similar as well, and it's one of the things that's very important to do that I've found early on. When Michelle and I were working together, we had a lot of overlap. We then would not agree with the way that we were doing certain things. So it was a really excellent point to say, right, let's look and define our roles so we can go and concentrate, and then just come back and say, right, I've achieved this. What have you achieved? Great stuff. And it's where the sort of teamwork comes in. And when you're in the army, you've got people who've been there and done it before, and you're part of an organisation that isn't for profit. You're not doing it for any financial gain. Whereas in business, a lot of people tend to go back to that sort of result of what you're doing is that financial reward or your revenue that you make and things of that nature. So you want to ask people for advice, but you'll tend to find people And it's not necessarily a wrong thing. So if they can add value to you whilst giving you value, that's absolutely fine. But you will sometimes not get the purest advice you might get, because that human nature to try and want to better yourself will come in as you try and give other people value.
So having that team or that network around you of people who share the same values, share the same mission,
exactly,
and have the same objective is really important.
Yeah, no, and that's another good point. And I'm not here to blow smoke up Jim's bum, but I've found it really helpful.
Isn't that why we're here?
Or not on video.
Oh, right.
So with Jim, I found that's been really good. Is he's been able to give me advice impartially, because he needs to make me have some value from the advice he gives, and I've already had the financial outlay for that, so I know where the ground lies. And so things like when he said, right, you need a mission for your business, again, very similar to a mission that you'd have when you're in the army. If you're trying to achieve something, everyone needs to understand the mission, so everything goes wrong. And you've got guys who have not been part of the decision-making process, and then, on the battlefield or wherever it might be, they know what they have to achieve. And it's very similar in business. If you know the arena you're working in, so for me, food and trying to get people to travel the world through this medium of taste, and I have my mission, and that's what it is. Anything I do, I know it's the right thing if it's geared to. Tired now.
We are tired, right? The wonders of modern technology and me with my badmin, as Ed would say. I've never even heard you say that, but I imagine I picked you to be the kind of person
just
that
thinking it very loudly.
Yeah, my iPhone storage just filled up on that last video. It's probably the amount of value we're adding, probably a direct relation to that. So we're just going to wrap up quickly while we're here, while the wind is decent and the storage is going to last. So where were we when we got cut off? You were talking about the value of having a clear mission, and how a clear mission in a military sense is the same and just as important as having a clear mission in a business sense, in terms of giving a very simplified, overarching objective that everybody needs to work towards, so that when all hell breaks loose and shit hits the fan, that's what you revert back to.
Yeah, and then it gives you good boundaries or brackets you on where your focus can go within your business, so you don't get too off path.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. So to recap, Ed runs a business, an awesome business up in Edinburgh called Spice Girl. They make amazing food, inspired Mexican and Asian foods. They will be at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and lots of other pop-up stores in and around the UK, and in featuring more and more delis, and it's epic stuff. And we're going to scram down on them tonight, so that'll be enjoyable as always. Never had it before, but I'm sure it's good. And yeah, enjoy yourselves. And what's your website?
www.spice-girl.co.uk.
And Instaface?
At Spice Girl _Ltd. And Facebook.
Oh, that's it, right? Yep. And Facebook. Spice Girl Ltd. Spice Girl. Good stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll check in soon. Enjoy yourselves. Say bye.